Hey everybody, we are back today with Brandy of Brandy Borough Astrology. Thank you for being back.
Thanks for having me.
And today we are going to be talking about the death of Prince. This is one that some of y'all have asked for, like Michael Jackson was one y'all asked for. This is another one that has been mentioned before in some of the comments. And I love Prince, so
Who doesn't love Prince?
yeah, for real.
Yeah.
For real. And because he is so well known, and because I'll be honest, I've got to pick my son up here soon. I'm not going to go into the long, because that would be like a whole episode talking about just who Prince was and his achievements. And honestly, like, if you don't know who Prince is, I can't fucking help you. So, like,
Well said.
so we are going to be looking at the different charts. The last time he was seen on April 20th of 2016 at around 8 p.m. And the chart for when 911 was called, and the chart for when he was pronounced dead on April 21st of 2016 from a fentanyl overdose. Yeah, should we dive in and
Let's dive in. Actually, remember this day. Who doesn't? I remember getting a CNN breaking news text that said a death was being investigated at Paisley Park. And I remember I was walking while I was reading the phone, and I was like, oh, a staff member must have died. And then, like, as I'm walking, I think I take 5 more steps, and I just abruptly stopped. And I was like, wait a minute, they're sending that because that's Prince.
yeah. I kind of remember that coming out, what you're talking about. And it's like, yeah, they're not releasing that yet, but yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Terrible moment. Okay.
Yeah. Seriously. Seriously. I am going to, okay, hold on. Let me share the screen. Okay, I'm glad I don't have anything like real stupid up my computer. You never know. You never know.
I gotta like record with my stupid astrology friend.
No, I'd never say that. I love recording with you. It's seriously, I'm so glad to be doing this again. This is like one of the highlights of my week, for real.
It's so fun. I love it.
Let me okay, so here are okay. Can you see this?
I can. Prince last seen.
Is it too small on your end?
On my end, I can see it just fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hope everybody else. Let me see.
It looks equivalent to the charts. You're good. This is enlarged. So
okay, so this is the last time he was seen being dropped off at Paisley Park by an unidentified person. Don't totally know what that means. But yeah.
yes.
What
Can we just talk about that moon in the 12th house? Like, we were just recording on my channel and we had that 12th house moon as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it generally doesn't like bode real great in these kinds of charts.
No, it's Prince's co-ruler. It's via combusta. It's a nasty moon.
Yeah, it is. It is. And then he is, and he is ruled by that Mars, with the ascendant being him. Mars also him. Pluto's also him too, by modern rulership. Pluto and the third house, getting out of a car, like being dropped off, kind of stands out. Intercepted makes me wonder, I don't know, who this unidentified person was exactly. No judgment or from
No judgment.
No
Well,
judgment.
I'll tell you though, that wouldn't really be the 7th house. But yeah, it's I don't know, that 6th house keeps standing out to me, like that Venus and Uranus right there.
Yeah.
Someone that works for him, or
Yeah, some does something.
does something.
Does something. I mean, it was later found there was some stuff going on with him before he passed. He was on he had a tour going on that was cut short earlier this April. Um, reports had said that he had the flu. I have read that he did say he had the flu sometimes and then sometimes said he was fine. It was later found that he did have an addiction to opiates. To me, this sounds like dope sick or
Yeah.
something, which can look like the flu. Um,
Yeah.
like the things that were going on with him beforehand. So that unidentified person who worked for him. I do wonder if this is an individual
Yeah.
who may have.
Maybe. And, Prince had, I mean, the guy could perform, right? Like, and I think he wore a lot of shoes with like heels on them. He
Mhm.
did have hip problems, and I believe there were surgeries and stuff that it was like a chain reaction of, like most people, you get the prescription pain meds, you're dealing with chronic pain, and it ends up there.
Yeah, you end up with like a dependence.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, again, like I said, no judgment from me. Like
Yeah. It's just, it's sad.
it is.
Um,
The Mars, you know, coming up on Saturn too in that second house.
yeah.
Um, eh. I don't know. It's
Well, you get like the second house with like traditional meanings, like it's a Venus Taurus ruled house traditionally. So there's pleasure, there's like things that make you feel comfortable. I don't know if we want to bring that in. But there's something about, there's also, when we're looking at like forensic charts, like abduction or trying to get a hold of something, like getting a possession. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
All these.
yeah, yes. And it's even less comfortable here with Scorpio on that cusp. I know those planets are in Sagittarius, but Scorpio energy is kind of conditioning that Sagittarius there, and it just feels less comfortable
Yeah.
than yeah.
Yeah, that sun sitting there frying the descendant. I can't like look away from it.
And that being not only with that being the house of, say, the catalyst or the perpetrator or what, however you want to think about it. It's also in this chart, it's the ruler of that 10th house with law enforcement.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's like something that came up with his death. I don't like the pills that he was found to have taken, that it was fentanyl, but it was made to look like hydrocodone. I don't, from what I'm reading, it doesn't seem like they stopped. What is the wording here? I'll just read it straight from Wikipedia. Um, shit, where was it? The fentanyl that led to his overdose was in counterfeit pills made to look like a generic version of the painkiller hydrocodone. The question of how and from what source Prince obtained the drugs was the subject of investigations by several law enforcement agencies. A sealed search warrant was issued for his estate, and another unsealed warrant was issued for the local Walgreens. On April 19th of 2018, the Carver County attorney announced that the multi-agency investigation had ended with no criminal charges filed. There's something, and I realize that if you don't know who to end that to me is a big you have counterfeit pills that are, and fentanyl, like that fucking shit
Yeah.
is is a real problem, and this doesn't
Kills a
seem
lot of
like it.
people.
Yeah, it does. And these were actually like counterfeit pills. This would be something that I don't think they would just stop investigating. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
something screwy about that with that ruler of the 10th house conjunct the descendant. I don't know, something that doesn't feel
It,
right.
yeah. It's tough. Yeah. I don't know. Is there lack of evidence, or is it just Yeah.
Yeah, there's something not, I don't know, something
Yeah.
strange there.
I feel you on that one.
Uh-huh.
Mm. Yeah.
Should we look at the next one?
Yeah, I'll just say one more thing about this. That Neptune in the fourth and Pisces, it's a strong, Neptune stays there for a while, but just looking at this chart, it's a strong Neptune. It is like just barely away from the fifth house.
Uh-huh.
And horary rules, it's actually considered to still be in the fifth house if it's within like 3 degrees. But we see the Neptune thing come up, especially with fifth house when there's like substances involved
Yes,
and these sorts of things. So I just wanted to point that out.
absolutely. And we've also, I mean, to back that up further, we have Pisces on the cusp of the fifth house. So it kind, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, with the ruler of Jupiter in a
Mhm.
detriment, Virgo. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, this was the 911 call. Or was this when it's either when 911 was called or when 911 arrived.
Okay.
One of the two.
I'm gonna at 9:43, officers received a 911 call requesting an ambulance. That was when it was called.
Okay, good. I got that
Wikipedia.
right. I thought I did. Cool.
Good job.
Okay, so here, what stands out?
Well, I think because we're seeing from the last chart was 8 p.m. the night before.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we're seeing the sun, or not sun, the moon now in the fifth house. I think he's probably already gone. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, yeah.
if you're just looking at astrology, and we know that, but
Yeah, and that is actually what they actually his death, I believe it's 10:07, the next chart, 10:07 a.m. is when it's
when it's called,
called. But they actually, I feel like, I believe I read that they feel like he died 6 hours before.
that would probably get it close to the eighth house, wouldn't it?
I think,
We play with it.
yeah, it does, because I have the possible time of death chart.
Oh, you do. Okay. I was like trying to do the math in my head real quick. Yeah, I was gonna say
It would,
that would be that would make sense. I would think when the moon went into the eighth, that's around the time he passes.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I thought that, yeah, made some sense as well. Um, yeah, and even like the Aquarius rising here,
Mm.
just sudden things
Unexpected.
happening, and we've got Uranus here in Aries in the first, happening to him, coming
Now
to
he was
him.
found in the elevator. Is that correct? Am I
Uh,
making
I believe, let me see, but I will double check.
I'm just kind of looking at what rules elevators. I'm just going to see if we can actually find that in the chart for like a location.
Yes, in an elevator. Yeah, I thought that was right, but I wanted to make sure before I.
Yeah, I was totally going from like memory, which can sometimes cross over to other cases. So, elevators is Uranus, Mercury, third house. So Uranus ruled ascendant, and
Mhm.
Uranus is right there.
And even the traditional ruler of Aquarius, Saturn, right on the midheaven, very, very visible.
Yeah, kind of
Uh,
like in a common space. I would think that could apply maybe like in
yeah,
a 10th house. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because multiple, using the elevator. It's not like he was found in his bedroom or something.
All right.
Um, let me go back to this one. Oh, actually, we'll go to this one when time of death was actually called.
You know, seeing the malefic planets, Saturn and Mars. Now they're not always malefic, but when you're talking about
Yeah,
malefics, those
yeah,
are the planets. Being in, Saggy, I mean, he is a Gemini, right? Like He's got some heavy opposition going on there.
Yeah, and he's got that. I believe I have. Yeah, I think I've got the transit chart. His
Oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
no, that's fine. His transit Saturn was opposite his sun at the time.
I see.
Pretty close. I believe his sun is like at 16 degrees or so. It was a close opposition. And he was pretty soon going to be going through his, well, by sign, he would have been going through a Saturn return, but it was close to like that 5 degrees that I like to look at.
Yeah.
For that. Um, this stands out to me on this time of death chart. You know, it's like, because there are, I mean, well, yes, there was an issue going on here, you know. It's not, doesn't even seem like it's real clear to this day, like where they came from. And you know, that is you've got, I mean, it's not just like, this isn't like somebody just buying a substance and it being laced with fentanyl. This is somebody who bought pills, think, you know, like actually looking like something else. I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what blows my mind, why that doesn't seem like that was investigated longer. I don't know. Cause that, mm,
Yeah, but yeah, no, totally agree. No excuses. I do wonder though, dealing with Prince
yeah.
and probably people, anyone who would know this information. I mean, it's got to be like highly discreet, you know. So
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just, I mean, I'm
Not,
sure he's dealing with a quote professional, right? Like, I don't know.
that makes sense.
I don't know how that works,
Yeah, that makes sense.
but the Neptune there, that does kind of there's a cloudiness or sometimes not knowing the truth when maybe the truth is there. Like there's something a little weird about it.
It muddies the waters more and yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the chart ruler's still in the fifth. In this case, it's the, you know, the moon.
The
Definitely.
11th house, I mean, we got like Mercury there, we got the sun, we got Uranus, we got Venus. I always, you know, 11th house, like friends, people networking.
Hmm.
And I don't mean to like speculate here, but it just seems like there's a lot of people around who might know some more of the story. Like he's surrounded, like that's kind of a heavy house, you know?
And with this, you know, Gemini on the cusp of the 12th house, flowing into that, Mercury, yes, I think it's very possible that, yes.
I mean, Prince himself, for being a Gemini, was very secretive. Like you heard after he passed all the good things he was doing, like, but he was very secretive about as well. I mean, so maybe people around him are just trying to keep the legacy, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
intact, do what they would think he would want. I don't know.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Um, is there anything else you want to bring up about this one, or should we look at the transits?
Yeah, we'll look at the transits.
I have to figure out which direction. Is this right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Can you see that okay?
I can.
Okay. So these are the transits, not specifically for the time, just for the day. Um, like this, like, yeah, his sun is at 41 or 1641 Gemini with that Saturn, like at transit Saturn at like 1550. I mean,
It's close.
yes, it was close. So, and it's, you know, that's not a super long transit, but a little bit longer, but that's close. It's,
Yeah. Um, that can definitely, and we were kind of talking about this when you get Saturn and the sun making like contact. Sometimes it's a conjunction, sometimes opposition or squaring. it really can weaken
Mhm.
the physical body. And so people can experience being sick. Just sometimes they're not even sick, they just feel low in energy for a
Yeah.
while. I've seen people who are, or charts for people who are great swimmers drown sometimes when that stuff's going on. Like it definitely seems to weaken the physical body.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, it does. It does. I've I've noticed that with Saturn transits with myself, yeah, it's with other people too. It does seem it lowers the vitality, lowers the defenses, even
Mm,
uh energetic defenses, if you will.
yeah,
It seems like it can.
yeah, for sure.
That okay. Okay, I'm focused on Jupiter because I'm going to show the solar arc chart in just a second.
Okay. Are you talking about the natal Jupiter?
Natal Jupiter, yeah.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. I was looking at that moon. Of course, the moon will go over that every month, but like
It
just
it
the
will
snapshot. But
at this time. Okay, at this one it was at 18 degrees 2 minutes of Libra. Oh my God, is it going to start raining? Please don't. Okay, please don't. Okay, so okay, so at the time that he was shit, that's not right. Okay, so at the time they suspect that he died at 4:07 a.m., it was at 22 degrees 31 minutes of Libra.
yeah, which would put it about a degree
Yep.
past.
Or a little less.
Yeah, by minutes. Yeah.
That kind of stands out here. Um, yeah. And
That
then
that via combustion moon. I mean, those are like, I mean, the moon like expands, right? And Jupiter, I always look at as like an expansion too. And it's I'm trying to see. It looks like it's riding that 12th house
yes,
cup. Okay.
and it's also expansion, right?
Mhm.
So it's like with Jupiter, I find that if there are, if there are issues,
Mm,
they can be, again, kind of like in what we were talking about in the video that we just recorded, right?
yeah.
About like Venus being one of the benefics, right? Jupiter,
Right.
Jupiter is the great benefic, but that doesn't mean that it can't. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um. Okay, so
Do we
with
know what his? Okay, go ahead. I was gonna look at something real quick while you're.
in this chart, the solar arcs, I noticed this solar arc midheaven is conjunct this Jupiter.
Okay.
Jupiter,
Wow.
yeah, it is. So there's like, I mean, it didn't have to be death, right? It didn't have to
Right.
the death way, but it did seem like something was probably going on, and his Jupiter is retrograde, meaning that that expansion perhaps is more inclined to be turned inward.
Yeah.
I don't know, it definitely stood out. And with Jupiter, being the ruler of that, transit Saturn in Sagittarius. I don't know. There are just things that kind of make me curious about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the timing of it all, and
Hmm.
yeah. And I was looking up his part of fortune is 2 degrees Leo.
Oh, damn, I didn't pull that. Shit.
That's okay. I have it. I'm thinking out loud. I was just kind of curious about something.
So it'd be in his ninth house. 2 degrees, you said, Leo?
2 degrees Leo.
So
Yeah.
his son would be ruler of that.
Yes. And I was just kind of thinking, where's Jupiter and Saturn at the time?
Well,
Saturn
Jupiter,
is a little bit
transit,
out of,
Jupiter was squaring it,
oh, that's right.
squaring that sun.
Yeah.
I don't think
Interesting things happen when these planets like make contact with part of fortune or the rulers. Like it's just so kind of crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. So, not if you want to, you're saying I feel like I kind of cut you off on your train of thought, like when that you were saying you're questioning like the solar arcs.
Oh, well, I'm questioning the because it's like okay, like I'm thinking about the Jupiter in the context. Like it's not Jupiter doesn't rule the eighth house. A lot of Pisces is in the fourth house.
Mm-hmm. With his moon.
But it still stands out to me as perhaps like again Jupiter retrograde in his chart, like internal, like excess being taken inward.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Okay, yeah. So you're an astrologer that uses the oh my gosh, why is it leaving me? The 24 degrees Saggy,
what?
the
Galactic center.
galactic center. I was trying to say center of the galaxy, and I'm like, that is not it.
Yes. Oh, yes. I use the galactic
Yeah.
center.
Like, what do you make of like if you look at his chart, it's just standing out to me like that Saturn. Is that why he's so different? Like,
Well, I've got to say, his Saturn is actually like within a degree of mine.
oh, interesting.
We share this in common. Um, yeah, it probably is. It probably does tie in to how he was able to, and almost like get away with. You know what I mean? Because like
Yes.
the
Yeah, I
way
know
that
exactly.
the way that he was able, like he was fucking fabulous.
He was unique. He was, yeah, yeah.
I think it's very possible that that does play into, but yet he always, and I know that there were like issues. Yeah, I know there were substance issues, but he always kind of struck me as somebody that was able to like get shit done.
Yeah. I mean, that Pluto in the 10th house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think just being Mars ruled by the chart, like,
And this is also the secretive,
yeah.
probably. It might have, but then I think like this modern chart ruler so close to the midheaven, he might have even doubled down on it. On the,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, because that's so visible. It might have been like, oh my God, I need my privacy. I don't feel like I'm getting it enough, so I'm going to double down.
That's a hard position to be in because I believe some of the royals have the chart ruler by the midheaven. And it's like, you are so public and you're meant to be, and
Yeah. Yeah. And that that seems like that would be difficult no matter what.
yeah,
But for
you're born into that, right? Like it's not like you're choosing to be
yeah.
public.
But in the case of like a Scorpio rising, I'm like, there are feelings
Woo.
about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, being a Scorpio rising with a Gemini sun alone, it's like, I mean, but that sun is in the eighth house
It
too.
is.
And so he is interesting.
He is very interesting.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, without the astrology, but the astrology is like, wow, it's like, it makes you kind of understand a little bit more what he's going through. And it's like to have that public life and success, but yet have this probably deep desire to be like left alone sometimes. It's wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's like, I can't even imagine. Like, it's such a contradiction. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. But somehow, like this, like even in the way that he appeared, there were contradictions,
Mm-hmm. Oh
but
yeah.
he fused them together beautifully.
Yes.
Like, yeah, he fused them in a beautiful way.
But yeah, and I mean I talk about one of the biggest ones real quick. It is just like, I believe towards the end he was part of Jehovah Witness Church, or at some point was. Yet his last albums were extremely metaphysical. It's like I always like I don't understand what was going on there, but all right, it's cool.
It was just perhaps something he wanted to. I think he was probably. I could see how that could come out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have to go pick up my child. Is there anything else you want to say quickly before?
No, I just leave it on that. Yep.
Well, Brandy, thank you so much for being here and talking about this with me. Where can you be found?
Thank you. I can be found at brandyburrowastrology.com and Brandy Burrow Astrology on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook. Ellie, real quick, I know you got to go, but tell everyone where you can be found just so they know.
You can find me here on YouTube at Saturn Season Astrology, on Instagram at Saturn Season Astrology, and on my website, saturnseason.com. Oh, and check out my course that'll start on May 16th if you're interested. It's on my website. So
Well, thank you, Ellie.
thank you for being here. And to everyone else, I'll see y'all later.